Goeiemôre vriende, ek vertrou julle het 'n rustige nag gehad. Ons gaan vandag Genesis 6 hanteer en ek gaan ongelukkig baie vinnig moet praat want ek moet hierdie goed in 'n halfuur klaar kry en dis baie inligting. Ek gaan so vinnig as moontlik praat, julle moet asseblief vandag baie vinnig luister. Genesis 6 vers 1 tot 8 is wat ons vandag lees. Verse 1, daughters were born, and when it came to pass, when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, that daughters were born to them. So daughters were born to the men and began to multiply on the face of the earth. These are human beings. The daughters of the men on the face of the earth, these were human beings. Verse 2. And it came to pass in these days, verse 2, that the sons of Elohim saw the daughters of men that they were beautiful, and they took for themselves wives of all of each of these which they chose. So sons of Elohim, people say when they want to indoctrinate us to believe that there were no fallen angels, they want to say that these were the sons of Elohim, so they were the seed of Seth, Seth had the seed of God in him, he was the good son, and Cain was the bad son, he had the seed of the serpent in him. So people want to negotiate this away and say it's the sons of Seth and the daughters of Cain. But I love Rob Skiba. We'll talk about Rob Skiba a little bit more later, but I love the way he says it. And we'll read about the giants now. Can kissing cousins, Seth and Cain's offspring, can kissing cousins really make huge giants? So we can see from this, without even looking any further, we can see that these were daughters of men, human beings, and the sons of Elohim that came and took for themselves of these daughters. Job 1 verse 6, and the day came to be that the sons of Elohim came to present themselves before Yahuwah, and Satan also came along with them. So yes, sons of Elohim, mostly in the Bible used for angels. It is also used for Israel, in the book of Isaiah where it says, and they will be called the sons of the living Elohim. But just read the context. In Isaiah, it's talking about the scattered tribes of Israel that will be gathered again by the hand of God himself. And they will be called the sons of the living Elohim. Beautiful word picture in the gematria, in the numerology of sons of God. But we don't have time to talk about that now. Verse 2b, and they took for themselves. So this word, they took. They didn't go onto one knee and say, will you please marry me? No. They took them by force. Verse 4. There were Nephilim. Your translation might say giants. And hopefully by now you guys have invested in a little bit of Bible study software, eSword or any of that. It's all free of charge on the internet. But if you click on that word and you find the original Hebrew and Greek and all the things you need to understand, it's not that word giant is Nephilim. It's Strong's H1961 from the root word H5303. And the root word is Nephal. And Nephal, I'm going to read to you, H5307. It's a primitive root to fall in a great variety of applications, but literally to be cast down, to cease, to die. It's got a terrible meaning. They use it because these fallen angels, I'll talk about the book of Enoch just now. These things taught women how to abort their babies. Abortion is sacrifice. It's human children's sacrifice. And America and South Africa and every country that has legalized abortion are bringing, and I don't have time to talk about this, people, but if you understand the occult nature of the Illuminati and the world government, you'll understand why they are sacrificing children. How many of these doctors are occults? I've listened to, and I don't want to talk about this. I don't want to upset you guys, but this weekend I listened to a testimony of a person that worked inside an abortion clinic, and And they take baby parts and they take it to their homes and they use it for rituals. I'm not going to talk about this anymore. You can do your own research. To make ready to fall away. It's inferior. It's disgusting. It's what comes out of you when you've aborted your baby. Now these Nephilim. So let's read again. And there were Nephilim in the earth, verse 4, on those days, and also after that, when the sons of Elohim, the angels, came into the daughters of men, and they bore children to them. These children that they born is the Nephilim. The same became mighty men of old, men of great fame. There's a lot to talk about here. I wish I'm going to go through all of this. But understand that the word giants, they were physical giants. But it was not only giants. I'll show you now. We'll come to that. But giants was a huge thing, which is the offspring of the daughters of men and the sons of God. The sons of God were the fallen angels. Giants, the Nephilim, were the offspring of the fallen angels and the earthly women. They had no souls. That's why they are like an abortion. Their fathers were the fallen angels. Who of you have seen any of these Hollywood movies about fallen angels? They basically have to fall out of heaven, become like Satan, become a serpent, become ungodly, unholy. They become the enemy of God when they fall out of heaven. And then they can have sex with not women only. We'll talk about it now. But these things have got no soul. So when they die, when the Nephilim, remember the fallen angels, I'll show you where they are right now. But the giants, the Nephilim, the offspring, when they died, there was no soul. And I'm going to record this weekend what happens when we die. I'll put the YouTube link for you on the group. Work through that. Yes, it's 2.5 hours, but work through it so you can understand what is the soul of a human being. What happens to your soul when you die? You have to understand these things. So these Nephilim doesn't have a soul. So when they die, they cannot survive without inhabiting a body. That's where we get demon possession from. That's why when Yeshua ordered the demons to get out of that man that was walking between the graves. You remember in Giham, I can't remember the area. He went to a certain area, there was a man demon possessed, blah, blah, blah. And then the demons said to him, "Are you going to send us to the abyss before our time?" And they asked him permission to go into the pigs. You remember that whole story? Demons are something totally different than fallen angels. When you all know Ephesians 6, go and read. There's various classifications of these spiritual things that are part of the kingdom of darkness. But Nephilim, when they die, become demons. Demons are not fallen angels. Fallen angels are much mightier, stronger, more intelligent. They are the forces. They are. Let's quickly run to Ephesians 6, because I can't remember all these things out of my head. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against, listen, principalities, powers, rulers, spiritual wickedness. There's 4 entities. And then we haven't even talked about Satan himself. 2 Peter 2, verse 4. So what happened to these fallen angels? For if God spared not the angels that sinned, but cast them down to abyssos. I know your translation says hell. It's a lie. I hate these deliberate, faulty translations. Please listen to the YouTube link I'm going to send to you guys. What happens when we die? I'll show you out of your own Bible. I'll show you the difference between hell and the dark pit, the deep pit. I'll show you the difference out of your Bible. For if God spared not the angels that sinned, but cast them down to abyssos, to the pit, and delivered them into chains of darkness to be reserved unto judgment. So there's other verses here, but this specific verse explained to us that something happened to the angels that sinned in the beginning. And God cast them down well, it says hell, but it's abyssos. And they delivered into chains of darkness. This is the dark, deep pit. And 2 Peter 2 verse 4, Peter knew the book of Enoch. We'll talk about Enoch now. Remember yesterday we learned that Enoch's name was teacher. And I totally forgot. Sorry, I needed to finish quickly. Yesterday we didn't finish verse 24. Please forgive me. I wanted to quickly discuss Genesis 4 verse 24. But it's good that we go now. But 2 verse 24, and Enoch had his walk with Elohim, and he was not, for Elohim took him. Remember, that's what we read about Enoch, and Enoch's name means teacher. And we talked about how his mother didn't know he was going to be a teacher, but this man, Enoch, I told you yesterday, he taught men and angels the Torah, the word of God. At one stage, God actually told him, stop teaching the fallen angels, stop talking to them, I'm going to lock them up in abyssos. So, but that you can only find in the book of Enoch. So, Yashar is another book. Enoch and Yashar, like I said to you, I accept these books. Just because the Roman Catholic Church took them out, doesn't mean it's not inspired scripture. And I wonder why they took them out, who's part of the Antichrist system and who not. But the book of Yashar is mentioned in the Bible many times. Many times. You'll find it all over Chronicles and Samuel and Kings. So this was an acceptable book. And Yeshua and the disciples, everybody knew these books. A lot of things they talk about, you don't know what they mean because you don't know the book of Yashar and Enoch. So the book of Yashar 3 verse 1 to 2 and verse 5. And Enoch lived 65 years and he begat Methuselah, and Enoch walked with God after having Methuselah, and he served God. And he despised the evil ways of men. This is after Genesis 6. That's why there was evil ways of men. And the soul of Enoch was wrapped up in the instructions of the Lord. Instructions, we know, Hebrew, Torah. So Enoch's soul was wrapped in the Torah, in knowledge of the Torah, in understanding of the Torah. And he wisely retired from the sons of men and secreted himself from them for many days to learn more about the Torah, to learn more from God. And Enoch rose up according to the word of the Lord and went from his house, from its place, blah, blah, blah. And he went to the sons of men and taught them the ways of the Lord. And at that time assembled the sons of men. Assembly, that word assembly is church. And assembled the sons of men and acquainted them. He taught them the instructions of the Lord. This is why Enoch is so important in understanding Genesis 6. And I'm happy to give you my, what can I say, just my opinion. In the slight little bit education that I brought over myself and that Yahuwah brought over me over the last 10 years, I can with, wat is hier, ek wil vir julle sê, ek is nie bang om vir julle te sê, lees die boek van Enoch nie. Daar is 'n boek 1, 2 en 3, gooi die ander 2 weg. As julle enigstens Enoch in die hande kry, hy's gratis op die internet. The book of Enoch, but the first one, only the first one. Because here, 2 Peter 2 verse 4, this comes straight. Peter is hy haal vir Enoch aan, presies hierdie sinne wat hy sê, if God spared not the angels that sinned, but cast them down to abyssos. Dit kom uit die boek van Enoch uit. Jude 1 verse 6, the book just before Revelation, and the angels which kept not their first estate. Makliker gesê, en die engele wat nie in die freaking hemel gebly het nie, wat nie hulle huis gehou het nie, wat hulle huis gelos het, that kept not their first estate, but left their own habitation. Hulle die hemel gelos, omdat hulle wou val en goed word wat kan copulate. If the angels which kept not their first estate, but left their own habitation, he, God, has reserved in everlasting chains under darkness unto the judgment of the great day. Onthou hierdie woorde, want ons gaan nou vir julle wys in die boek van Openbaring. Wanneer word hierdie goeders, wat toegesluit is in chains of darkness, in abyssos, wanneer word hulle vrygelaat? Because it's the judgment of the great day. Hulle is nie daar gesluit net vir hulle eie judgment nie. Hulle is daartoe gesluit omdat God hulle gaan gebruik om die aarde, die wêreld, die mense te judge. Ek sê dit nie. Joshua sê dit in die boek van Openbaring. Ek gaan vir julle wys. So Jude 1 verse 6, hy haal ook woord vir woord uit die boek van Enoch. And if it wasn't for the book of Enoch, mentioned many times all over the Bible, quoted by Peter, by Joshua, by Jude, we would never have understood this whole thing. It makes you wonder why the Roman Catholic Church took the book of Enoch out. But remember, the book of Enoch and even the book of Jasher, they were in the first editions of the King James. The old editions of the King James had these books in. They were removed later. For more information on this extremely interesting, extremely important, but extremely difficult piece of biblical history, something that is so well hidden from the eyes of the normal people, it just makes you wonder why, what they have to hide. Please take time to Google Rob Skiba. I will load the link of a specific teaching of his on the group. It's long, it's like 2 hours long. So just download it after 12 o'clock when you've got free data. And I'll show you when we end this study why we need to understand this. And if you want to do further studies, we will never cover everything in these morning studies. Please go and Google. I'll put the link. You go and do your own investigation further. I'm going to rush forward. Guys, sorry that I'm hurrying this morning. Verse 4. Men of renown. They were called men of renown, men of fame. All the gods and the demigods and the heroes and the idols and the giants you see in Hollywood today. These were the Hollywood alternative gods that was worshipped in the ancient times. These were the heroes. These were the Fantastic Fours and the Incredible Hulk. These were these guys. Hollywood is not imagining these things. The producers in Hollywood, all of them are freaking Freemasons, and they all belong to the Illuminati. Believe you me, they don't have enough imagination in their brains to think everything they're putting on the TV on. Remember, God has His word, and His seed is in us because we believe His word. Just like that, the serpent has his word and his seed. And you believe me, Hollywood is the Bible of Satan. He tells you exactly what he has been doing for 6,000 years and what he is going to do in the future. If you want to see what Satan is busy with, you just watch TV. Verse 5. And Elohim saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thought of his heart was only evil continually. Understand this. There's something about the people on the earth that was so bad that God wanted to just destroy them with Noah's flood. If you think about a bad person, let's think about Hitler. He was a really bad person. I mean, I can talk about hours about Hitler. But when Hitler gave his mother a hug, he didn't have evil intentions in his heart. Think about this. The people in the time of Noah, and remember Yeshua said, the end of days will be like in the days of Noah. These people had evil continually in their heart. Not even when they were hugging their children or their mothers did they not have evil. Something was different with these people because they were the offspring of fallen angels and women. They had no souls. There's something different to them than to people that God creates with a soul. As you get to know more about this difficult topic, you'll understand why God told Israel and Moses and Joshua, go and kill them. It was not because they were black or because they were brown or because they were Chinese, nothing like that. He specifically told them, go and kill the Canaanites because of this Nephilim seed. Okay, 2 Peter 3, verse 6 and 7. Here Peter talks specifically about what happened in the days of Noah, whereby the world that then was, being overflowed with water, perished. All right, so this was the first huge worldwide judgment. Okay, verse 7. But the heavens and the earth which are now, by the same word, the word of God, are kept in store. This heaven and earth is reserved unto fire against the day of judgment and perdition of ungodly men. So the first judgment was water, and then Yahuwah promised he will never destroy the earth again with water. Remember, he gave the rainbow as his covenant. But the next judgment coming, like in the days of Noah, it came with water. In the last days, as it were, again like in the days of Noah. And you'll understand when you've watched Rob Skiba. Then the earth will be destroyed by fire. There's only these two judgments of worldwide destruction ever. Where did the ancient Egyptians, the magicians, the Chaldeans, the Babylonian wise men, where did all these people get their knowledge from? Read the book of Enoch. Where does all the esoteric, occult information come from that we see in the Illuminati, in Hollywood, in the occult books? Why did Hitler spend more money and manpower and resources? Oh, and this is interesting history, guys. To dig up Egyptian pyramids and establish a base on Antarctica than he spent on anything else. There's something about these fallen angels, and when you read the book of Enoch and you understand that they came and they taught the women, and yeah, I wear makeup to work. But you're not like the Egyptian women that had all those big, huge makeup things, but I do wear makeup to work. But in the book of Enoch, it explains how the fallen angels taught the women how to do makeup. But of course, that was a specific kind of heavy makeup. And the reason was because they were so sexually lusted. So you read the book of Enoch and you see that the fallen angels taught them how to make weapons. Why do you think Hitler had superior weapons? I can't get into this. It's so much information. But there's a superiority to esoteric occult knowledge. When these Hollywood women do their makeup, it's different than when you and me do our makeup. We can't look like these people. This occult knowledge is sought after. Hitler spent a lot of money to try and find this hidden ancient knowledge. What do you think the New Age is about? All these books that you get these days. Oh, it's just amazingly, unendingly interesting. But there is hidden, ancient, esoteric, occult knowledge. And that's why God said, do not commit adultery. Do not have sex outside of your marriage. There's spiritual problems with that. He says in his Torah, do not have sex with animals. There's spiritual issues with that. I'll show you now. We'll come to it in the next 5 minutes. I'm almost done. Do not get involved with witches or magicians or soothsayers or anybody that's got a hand in the occult, because it's real. But he wants to keep us away from this, because we will be caught up in the tree of good and evil, and we will not be able to get out of it once you're in it. And that's why so many people are absolutely caught up into this. Genesis 6. This is the real history of mankind. And the real history is so hidden. And if you try and touch on it, you're accused of being a stupid conspiracy theorist. Even if this is what you're thinking now, please don't reject this. Put it on your bookcase. Put this information on your bookcase. You don't have to worry about this now. You don't have to investigate it further. But put it there. Let's work together through the rest of the scriptures. And at a stage when you're ready, you can always go back and you can start investigating this further. But yeah, the world accuses us of being stupid conspiracy theorists. So, pleased to meet you. My name is Marda van Rensburg. I am a stupid conspiracy theorist. Can you answer my questions, Mr. Professor, Mr. Scientist, Mr. Preacher? No, you can't. Yet you call me a stupid conspiracy theorist. Even if you don't want to open the book of Enoch, just because it's against the indoctrinational belief that only the books in the Bible that currently lies next to your bed is inspired scripture. Preachers can still not explain all of this because there are scriptures in your Bible. 2 Samuel 23 verse 20. And Benaiah, the son of Jehoiada, the son of a valiant man of Gabziel, this is in the time of David, who had done many acts, he killed 2 lion-like men of Moab. Lion-like men. Not lions, not men that looked like lions. And people could say, oh no, it's just a slang language. Really? Oh God, you are so faithful. Thank you for the rest of this verse. Benaiah also went down and slew a lion in the midst of a pit in the time of snow. So this verse clearly understands the difference between a man, a lion, and a lion-like man. Where does lion-like men came from in the time of Samuel? Numbers 13:33. And there he saw giants, the son of the Anakim. And if you watch Ancient Aliens on National Geographic, you'll find out a lot about the Anakim, which came of the giants. And we, Israel, we were in our own sight as grasshoppers against them. How big is a grasshopper? You can step on it with your foot. So Israel against the Anakim were like grasshoppers. And again, fine. See, a lot of people say that this is just because they were afraid and it's like a metaphor. Fine. If you think it's a metaphor, let's ask the rest of the Bible. Deuteronomy 3:11. For only Og, king of Bashan, remained of the remnant of the giants. Behold, his bed was a bed of iron. Is it not in Rabbah? 9 cubits was the length thereof, and 4 cubits the breadth, after the cubit of a man. And you can go and do your research of how big a cubit is. But 9 by 4 cubits. This was not just a little guy, a little big giant that had to just duck his head when he came into the door. This was a big man. 1 Samuel 17:4. Then a champion came out from the armies of the Philistines, named Goliath from Gath, and his height was 6 cubits and a span. He was slightly smaller than the king of Bashan, Og. And yet, we all know the story of David and Goliath. Goliath was not just a big man. He was a giant. He was a Nephilim. Numbers 13:32. So they gave out of the sons of Israel a bad report of the land which they had spied, saying, the land through which we have gone and we spied is a land that devours its inhabitants. And all the people we saw in it are men of great size. These Nephilim, the book of Enoch also explains to you, there wasn't enough food to satisfy them. They started eating each other, and they started eating the people. Amos 2 verse 9. Yet it was I who destroyed the Amorite before him, even though his height was like the height of a cedar tree. Please stand next to a cedar tree and see how high it is. And he was strong as the oaks. So, okay, giants are sorted. We see more than enough about giants, and there are more verses, we just don't have the time. But I need you to understand that mythology is just very, very ancient history, told and retold so many times that it became legend and myth. Look at Greek mythology. Look at all the fairy tales in the children's books. And if you want to believe the book of Enoch, you'll see that the fallen angels had not only mated with women, but also sinned against animals. God in his Torah calls it bestiality. Do not do it. And you can just watch Narnia and other Hollywood movies to see what the result is. Human animal hybrid. These human-animal hybrids were worshipped as gods. Just Google all ancient religions, and even modern, like Hindu. Just Google them. Look at the ancient animal-human hybrids. These things were not just imagined up by a human being. Why do we need to understand Genesis 6? Is it even relevant? Does it going to make a difference if I'm saved or not? You may ask. Let's see what Paul says. 2 Thessalonians 2 verse 3. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall come, but not before there comes a falling away first. Okay, remember falling away. And the son, the man of sin is revealed, the son of perdition, who opposes, verse 4, and exalteth himself above all that is called God, and all that is worshipped, so that he as God sits in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. Remember the falling away. Revelation 9 verse 1. And the fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star falling from heaven unto the earth, fallen angel, and unto him was given the key of the bottomless pit, not hell. Remember we talked about abyssos. Not hell, bottomless pit. And he opened the bottomless pit. Remember we read in Peter that these angels were chained up in abyssos, in the bottomless pit. And he opened the bottomless pit, and there arose a smoke out of the pit, and the smoke was like a great furnace, and the sun of the air was darkened, blah, blah, blah. And there came out of the smoke locusts upon the earth. And unto them was given power, and blah, blah, blah. Lots. You need to go read verse 4 all the way to verse 10, so you can see what these things that were released out of the bottomless pit, what they looked like. And it was commanded, verse 4, sorry, I just want to read this, verse 4. It was commanded that they should not hurt, blah, blah, blah. Okay, but they should only hurt those men which have not the seal of God in their foreheads. So remember we said you have to remember falling away. Remember that these fallen angels locked up in abyssos, being released in Revelation 9, can only hurt men that does not have the seal. So you want to ask the question again, why is Genesis 6 important? Because of Revelation. And they had a king over them, verse 11, which is the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in Hebrew is Abaddon, but in Greek, Apollyon. So verse 5 to 10, read for yourself. And as you read this, think about any alien movie you've ever seen. Can you see the resemblance of these things? Can you see how Hollywood is Satan's Bible? Can you see how he's explaining to you what he's going to do in the future? There is no rapture. And for those of you who might not understand this yet, we can do a Bible study about it. Please just believe me. The Bible explains enough. There is not going to be a rapture. There will come an alternative Christ, the Antichrist, like Paul warns, and Yeshua and everybody else. And what if this alternative Christ comes like an alien from another planet, appearing with great signs and wonders, and he claims to be humankind's creator? The scientists who can't answer questions about evolution have jumped from evolution to what they call spamspermia. This is the next best solution to their stupid evolution theory, that we were spermed by aliens onto this planet, and these aliens will come back to us. Just watch Ancient Aliens on National Geographic. It's gonna explain to you what happened in Revelation, in Genesis 6. But what if the tribulation starts, right? And the church is not raptured away to heavenly bliss, and the people start losing their hope and their trust in God. And the next thing, aliens come onto the scene. Can you see the great falling away that Paul is warning us about? Let no man, 2 Thessalonians 2 verse 3, deceive you by any means, for that day, which day? The end of days, that day shall not come, before the days in which Yeshua must come, the end of days, and then comes Yeshua, that shall not come before there's a great falling away. And that falling away in Greek is apostia. And apostia is to fall away from God. What will cause this great falling away from God? Why will people lose their trust or their belief in the God of the Bible? Think about it. Think about hearing on CNN that aliens have landed in freaking New York. And the next thing, they start landing here in Joburg. And your children see the aliens and say, "See, Mom, Jesus doesn't exist. We come from aliens." Imagine in the church the amount of falling away when this happens. That is why God says we have to know Him. And we talked about the da'at, knowledge of the Bible, as well as yada, to know Him intimately. And we have to know His word so we can be prepared. We can know what is coming so that we can guard against these deceptions. And hopefully during these last days, we can encourage other people to not take the mark of the beast. And we can talk for hours about this. We need to know what this is. We can encourage others not to become part of this Genesis 6 system, not to allow DNA manipulation, not to take any inserts in your body, not to fall into the Antichrist system. And we've touched on this very briefly, but I'm praying, Yahuwah, please give the understanding, give the revelation. Ephesians 6:10, and I'm closing. Ephesians 6:10 to 12. Finally, my brethren, be strong in Yahuwah and in His power and His might. Put on your full armor of God, which you know is the sword of the word. The sword that is currently by the entrance of the Garden of Eden by the tree of life. You can only get through the sword back to the tree of life. Put on the whole armor of God that you may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, powers, rulers of darkness, spiritual wickedness in high places. So I agree, Paul, and I'm saying, finally, my brothers and sisters, be strong in Yahuwah. Get to know Yahuwah, get to know His word, and be ready for your daily problems. Yes, your daily tribulations. But get yourself and your children ready for the tribulation of the end of times. Know the truth from the tree of life compared to the indoctrination of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. I greet you in the name of Yeshua HaMashiach.